Hey friends, good morning to you and happy Wednesday, or I like to say happy hump day. Um, I am sitting in my car again. My session doesn't start until 9, and I was listening to worship music, praise and worship music, and um, reading a couple of chapters of the Word, and something really occurred to me that yesterday when I got on and I made the video, it was raining, it was cold, it was windy, it was just dreadful, dreary weather. And today it's the exact opposite. Now we're in the winter months, so it's still cold, but it is bright. I had to shift where I was sitting in the car because the sunlight was coming in right into my eyes. I could barely see. And isn't that like life sometimes? And that's why it's so important to not put a period where there may simply be a comma, or even just a semicolon. That we can't make up in our minds what our situation is going to be, or have a permanent perspective on something when it may just be temporary. From one day to the next, and certainly from one moment to the next, things can change so drastically. And in this faith walk and this faith relationship that we have with God, we never know what is to come. Living, breathing, working, existing in this fallen world, we never know from one moment to the next what will happen. But we have to be careful, because I think often we do a better job of being prepared and bracing ourselves for the worst. How about if we braced ourselves for better? How about when we imagine what is coming next, instead of assuming the worst, regardless of where we stand now, that we assume the best? So if you're standing in the middle of a storm, in the middle of the rain, if it feels like the wind is blowing and your life is being turned upside down, I want you to imagine that if you just hung in there, you just continue to walk in faith and to keep believing God for his best, that in 24 hours it would look like there was never a storm. The one of the verses of today that's the focus is just praising God and not grumbling and complaining. Now, none of us is perfect in that situation in terms of not complaining, but I believe that complaining and being impatient, of course, are indications of where there's room in our lives for greater faith, or where we lack faith. So today, let's think of Psalm, I think it's 128 verse 28. Double check me on that one. Or 128 verse 8. But it basically says, I will praise the Lord. I will praise the Lord, for he is my God. I will exalt him, for he is my God. Something along those lines. So let us just in advance praise, thank, and exalt God simply for who he is, but of course knowing that he has our lives in his hand, and in 24 hours he can turn things dramatically around. All right, so that's my message for today. Stay encouraged, my friends, and I'll talk to you soon.